Operator. Deus.
The first light reaches us as heat before sight. Windows blank white and hold their trapped scream. I snatch the boy against my chest and feel his mouth open through my coat. The air hardens, turns to sheet metal, trembles in my teeth, a smell like coins. Sirens go up and thin themselves to wire. The prayer beads at the stairhead clack like teeth on teeth. Someone's kettle finds a note and refuses to leave it. In the next few minutes, we become a thing that only goes down. Shoulders pressed, water tins beating knees, eyes raw. Each step a counted act that lets the next exist. A man with a stick lamp hops 3 steps ahead of me, limp like a remembered habit. His little light shudders up saints blistered into the plaster, gives them coal skin and lifted knives. And the boy's name is Kez, and he is not mine by blood. He is mine because I took the tilt shift when his mother went to ash with the fever. He is hotter than the room under my coat. He keeps trying to look, and the muscles in his neck cannot learn not to. I put my hand to his ear and keep it there. The hand is a lid. The ear is a small wet cup. The stairwell is bodies and oil stink and panic running in place. We pass the laundry lines that want to ignite and don't. A woman shoves a sack into my arms. It is wood pulp, sharp with sour. I pass it on. The banister is wrapped in wire and prayers, and I pull my sleeve down so I don't leave skin there. The floor gulps. We all hitch on that gulp like fish snagging. No one says the word for the things falling, not because we don't know it, but because saying it might make it think we are calling it closer. Between buildings, the sky has turned to lanes. Light moves inside it as if dragged on hard wheels. Sound comes late, rolled here in a crate. The manufactorum smashes itself like a hand in its own machine. I can feel the old line stamp in my pocket where I kept it too long and it learned me. The second light tears that thought up and slaps it out of me. We join the mouth into the tunneling with the rest, brick chipped back to wet gray. The air pulls and pushes without a plan. The lamp knot flutters, coughs, then hunkers into steady tremble. People feed to the cuts with blunt patience. A cry behind us goes thin, a reed. Kez tries to turn. On me, I say, and the words come out like iron filings. Rough, certain, already falling. Hook and fish on me. The rungs are greasy. My boots are shy with them at first, want courting. The tunnel pushes cold up my sleeves. Fingers attached to my belt with all the wild strength of small hands that know numbers when they have to. I take my left shoulder off people and give it to the wall. I have a rule from the line. Keep the left on steel, count to 8, breathe through salt. I don't remember when I made it. I don't need to. There are prayers, the work quick kind and the trying to remember kind. The lamp circle steps along faces, picks them and lets them go. A man with a baby stops dead to allow an old woman past because she cannot learn any other way to move. His eyes have been counting too long, they do not know what not to count. A crosscut of light whips over the mouth like a blade that decided late to be light. We do not see it, but our molars answer to it. The pause afterward is breath held underwater. Then the weight of sound climbs up the rungs through our boot soles and sets bones to chime. Dust comes weathering down. We skew deeper. Someone's foot stomps the tendon of my heel. I turn with sour in my throat and remember I want to live through other people today. Kez pulls my sleeve like the sleeve is a bell he can ring to make me remember him. The tunnel makes copies of our noises and sells them back to us cheaper. The steam lines find their knuckles and pound. We cut into a side bay marked with red chalk like a fish with a bitten tail. It is a room for menders and cheap tools. The floor has the slick of old oil ground to butter. There are pipitenders already curled there, eyes on their knees, careful with their breathing, careful with their not looking. And I squat to the wall. Kez becomes my lap, and my lap becomes a flat we stack our two selves on. He is taller this season. He is all knees and sore air. He curls like a beetle when you touch it. He is listening to the bombardment speak through me into him. Someone hums and loses the note to dust. An old man stares at his arms where small hairs stand like frightened grass. Another hit climbs the wall through the joints and turns the arch to salt. My tongue collects grit as if it is tasting new meals. Is it ours? Some throat asks. I press my lip to Kez's hair so I don't answer a thing that might become true when I do. Pressure walks in, feels faces with a spread hand. My left ear squeals and blanks. Kez bones try to climb into his shoulders to hide, and the room light goes an animal color and makes us all a single thing with one skin. A boy with a scar under one eye crawls to the doorstep and says, "They are running both ways." His voice drops into the floor as if the floor asked for it. The real hurt begins after that small, true sentence. The cut above us takes something it is not meant to take. The tunnel breathes wrong, lungs knocked the other way. The air goes away and comes back at once with stone thick in it. The roof shakes and then touches down on people with careful, absolute hands. Light comes down shaped like a stranger's face that stayed, then tore. Noise knocks us to our knees and keeps going. I am on my back with the door that isn't there across my shins. Kez is unpoured from my lap. He is a blur in the paste of bodies and brick. I call his name and the call never finds my own ears. I try to sit and the ankle at the far country of my leg writes me a letter about the new arrangement and demands attention. I flip the stone with both palms and the floor argues and then agrees a little. I find a way to be under it less. Kez is on his back, arm through a ladder rung as if he got clever at the end. A side rail has fallen across him, old iron straight and sure. I put my hands on it and try. It laughs in the stone's language. I wedge a strip of shorn door under and lever, arms already trembling from holding too much today. The rail settles and then falls the last way down, makes the final decision, smashes into him deeper, takes the little soft of breath and flattens it. His mouth that was a cup has become a line that tells me it is not a mouth. The small sound I make is not made for sharing. It leaves my throat and cannot find air that wants it. There are hands that mean to help. They heave and know it is performance because this scale does not allow help, only motion. They are good hands. They make acting like work because not acting is the kind of stillness you are put aside for. We get the iron off late. He comes to me lighter, missing the part that pushed back to prove aliveness. I pull the cloth from my pocket that I washed 2 days ago and saved for particular uses, and I put it over his face, and the hot there is not mine anymore. There is the shape of a nose under the cloth. There is the exactness of soot smudged not as I want it, and I can do nothing to change it. His fingers, in that had learned bolts this year, drop into a new order that I do not answer. In the edges of the room, a split in the steam line starts screaming. It spits white, dust cakes to slurry. We pick our small body up and make a room of bodies around it. Not because he needs us, but because we need a shape to kneel to so that the next thing can happen without us having to choose it. Glass far away makes the sound of its own evening meal. Another slam turns the columns into breathing animals, ribs rising, ribs down. The pump under the floor speaks in a faster clack than we like. People bring a tarp and begin a trade in bodies, no face names, only edge weights. When their sure hands reach into our circle and pause at my hand's single lifted palm, they stop and leave the circle unbroken. The palm is a new language I did not know I knew. And it says, not this one, not yet. We lose the idea of the big tunnel as a way and turn to the low-maintenance run that eats knees. We take Kez on a strip of door. At the first 90-degree corner, there is a quarrel between the space and the shape we ask it to let through. The quarrel cannot be settled. The young with the scar looks at me and waits for me to be older than I am. I look at the cloth and the nose, and I am equal with him for a moment. I tuck the cloth, press my forehead to the grit in his hair that has replaced his smell, and say one word that matters and is a kind of lever inside the chest. Mine. Then I put my hands on the wall and go forward on my knees, because the knees do not accept argument, only direction. From then, all measurements are by shoulder, elbow, breadth. The crawl is a dog tunnel bristled with old rivets, and it talks in a hum under the skin left from old current, the way places talk while pretending to sleep. A man with a crowbar worries a seam open, and we watch him do it, loving his hands for as long as they choose to be useful. We slide into a pump room tilted wrong by some decision outside. The floor smells like iron left in rain. The little window in the far wall is industrial, chicken wire in the glass, and one pane is already a spider hitching toward done. There is air here that tastes like pennies and old soap. From the small square we can see a cut of the outside. The streets draw their shapes wrong now, like a child's drawing where corners can't find each other. Light pulls ropes downward, and the city answers with the upright of every girder that will speak when asked by weight. The horizon keeps taking my left eye like a hand, and I make it stop by putting my palm to the glass. It is warm. We eat what is handed because taste is not the point. Someone finds a tin of syrup that tastes like coins ground with cinnamon. It coats the mouth and refuses water to wash it. I am grateful for the complaint of it. Complaints are familiar. Joy would be extra. Jareb from Lift 3 is here, shoulder broad, collar cut, mouth cut, carrying his own missing blood like a debt he does not think of. He puts his back under a pipe and leans as if that could put the world back to how he likes weight to be distributed. He grins at me with 2 teeth knocked to chalk. "Ha," he says, because there is not enough breath to say the longer word that sits behind it and means still. Another pull of the sky takes the room and rings it. The pump makes a dog noise. A sneeze of water finds the corner. He works under the lip, then decides to be a trickle. We bail with hands by instinct older than the city. We laugh for the shape of it, not the feeling. When we stop exactly. The bomb light out there paints and unpaints the courtyard beyond the failed glass. We learn to move in the dark strips, a strange dance whose steps are old. You go on the beat that won't see you. The boy with the scar watches my feet and matches his to mine, and I pretend not to know I am being watched. The open is rude. The open shows us all our edges at once, and that is too many edges for a body. Something above peels and drops itself across a roofline with a tired roaring, like a man lying down on purpose to die without making people look. We don't look. There is a cylinder on its side singing from a seam, a high sugar smell. We don't touch the run of it, and in the bright strip I can see the paint on the old authority poster lifting in tongue shapes. In the dark strip there are hands that reach where they thought someone might be. We miss each other most in the places we most need to be precise. I keep one hand to Jareb's belt and the other to the boy's back. A woman behind me wears a shoe that belongs to a bigger foot, and she treats it like a temporary arrangement the way poor people treat all shoes. We move like that for a good long distance measured in steps and curses. A hatch presents itself because a toe kicks a wheel into being. It is a cistern cut. The wheel pays a little when I beg it with 2 hands and Jareb's shoulder. The hatch opens its throat and breathes cold that feels like sense. We go because up there is the part where the rules went away, and down here the rules are only stupid, which is better than missing. It smells of copper and meals down here. Water licks the first stair and then the next, and then stops to not scare us. There are ribs of the building you can meet with a hand. We find a walkway that pretends to be wide enough and we sit, pants leaching cold wet out of us like mistakes. There is a ladder on the far side leading to a making in the stone that might be a way and might be a mouth. We all look at it in turns and then we don't. Candles appear the way useful things do, with no comment from no one you can name. They are perfumed wrong for this place. We light them anyway. The little lights put soft faces on us, not the sky's hard ones. They make Jareb's grin ridiculous in a way I bless. In a woman with scar paint gone to a gray smear across her cheek holds a tin for me and I drink and it tastes like boiled coins. The boy puts his head to my shoulder and falls over the edge into the shaking sleep of children. I keep my palm up on the rail until it is pooling with wet, and I pretend that is a kind of holding on to something else that is soft and alive. I do not say a prayer. I count. I tap the rail 4 and 4 and breathe salt, then breathe through, then start again. This is not wisdom. This is the mechanic I know. It is the way a hand keeps busy so a brain can stand a thing without breaking a noticeable piece. Someone tells a small story about a cat that belonged to a pipe. He forgets halfway if the cat ended up in pieces or under someone's coat asleep. He chooses asleep because he has to sleep himself. In his voice becomes the good soft of tired, and we all agree to meet him there later in our turn. The sky above continues to apply law. The timetable moves from frantic to something regular, base, the thud of a conveyor full of stone. Between hits, the building likes to exhale powder. It puts it on our jackets and in our hair like a mother not minded to be gentle. The water comes up a notch and stops to let us make choices. It holds a skin of oil that colors were happier to be in once. A piece of far wall coughs into the tank. The water takes it with a circle and acts like that is all. The smell changes and comes to live in our tongues. We accept because we are past not accepting. The boy frowns in his sleep and talks to his mother in a voice he doesn't use when waiting for bread, and I keep the weight of his skull in the notch of my shoulder and adjust my hand on the iron. My ankle has a pulse that is a different set of seconds to the candles. I let them be 2 clocks and I borrow from both to keep the one I made. Steps. A scrape on the ladder. We look like mice do when the thing they outrun goes quiet in a different room. The first head up is an old man's with a cut to the scalp that has made his hair look religious. He puts a hand out without words. We pass him a bottle. The way he takes it tells us the way back is blocked and the way forward is the same as we have. He sits. We shift to fit him. Every so often boom and then the shiver that makes candle flame stand straight up as if offended. Every so often the quarter second where nothing at all happens and the not happening feels like its own noise. And we learn that hearts beat louder when nothing external asks them to. We learn our own counting is louder than prayer if you do it long enough. We learn the muscle of waiting wears thin and then grows back under a new name. A slick thread of water suddenly chooses my wrist, steps across my knuckles like a creature deciding where to put its feet, then puts its cold belly in my palm. I watch it spin and go over the edge into the line of wet everyone's palms have made. It takes with it a tiny film of lamplight, a worm of brightness which runs along the rail, stopping only where a dent holds it up, then moving when the next bead touches. The bombardment is an animal outside, breathing and pacing. My hand is a rail. The rail is wet. The bead moves. We do not stand when the next strike is too close and past usefulness. We do not make big words. In we breathe. We listen to water explain itself by continuing to be itself. I count left and I count right because I have these 10 fingers and they will do for that. The boy shakes and then stops shaking with that small surrender of a body too tired to remember its alarms. Jareb hums a strip of a song that was not written but found. The woman with the wrong shoe snores with her mouth open, drool slick on her chin. because the body will do what it knows even when the law outside changes. We all do what we know. In the farmost membrane of my left ear, a grain settles from the plaster and sits in the curled place like a living cinder. For a little while it holds the day's heat. Then, without asking, it begins to cool.